Hello there, kia ora, and welcome to this week's news. Te Pāti Māori co-leader Debbie Ngāwera Paka, seen here chilling on the couch, wondering genuinely how your day was, says that she is, quote, gutted, obviously fucked off, end quote, with a decision from Spanish company Blue Float Energy Limited, which has withdrawn its plan to set up an offshore wind farm off the coast of Taranaki, citing the planned offshore seabed mining being put through fast-track legislation as part of their reasoning. The wind farm itself would have produced enough energy to power 440,000 homes, or the combined number of dwellings in the Waikato and Wellington regions. In Wellington this week, the Office of Department of the Prime Minister and Cabinet announced an end of funding to Whenua Taurikura Research Centre, New Zealand's flagship research centre looking at violent extremism, set up in the wake of the March 15 attacks. This comes weeks after the closure of the Disinformation Project and the closing of investigative journalism project Stuff Circuit, all of which had focused on links between the rise of disinformation and violent extremism risks in Aotearoa, New Zealand. Said David Seymour and Winston Peters, seen here agreeing that the tail should wag the dog, in one curiously very, very rare photo of the two of them in close proximity to each other. Good. Maybe they'll stop telling people voting for us is dangerous now, and we can embolden more racism. Common sense in people. The Minister for Land Information, Chris Penk, seen here wondering if there's something spicy on the menu at Bellamy's, like white rice seasoned with salt, has been asked to make a call about returning the name Petone to its original Te Reo Māori name of Pito One. The New Zealand Geographic Board, which is in charge of place names, has made the recommendation after years of exhaustive research that showed early settlers started calling the area by a bastardised version of the original Pa site name. While the local council has voted to accept the change and the overwhelming majority of public feedback was in support of the idea, it's being seen as doing something supporting Te Reo Māori is clearly scaring the minister, who is yet to make a final decision, and there is no time frame as to when he may make the call, then be overridden by the leader of the ACT Party saying it's not to his liking, and then publicly saying he's chosen not to go ahead with it due to the expense of, updating signs and email signatures. Invercargill Mayor Nobby Clark, seen here showing how he likes to greet people, has threatened to stop contributions to local media outlets as a threat over reporting the costs of his 3 Code of Conduct complaints, which have cost the city more than $79,000. Citing the fact that he believes media just want to regurgitate that issue instead of looking at the positives of his tenure, he has told the Otago Daily Times, the Southland Express and Stuff by email he has been left no option. If only they'd been more like that top-notch What's On Invis outlet who publish racist Garrick Tremaine cartoons and let Nobby say whatever he likes on regular segments. On Thursday, nearly 30 flights scheduled to fly in and out of Wellington Airport were cancelled due to the extreme weather, which saw wind gusts of up to 140 km per hour and 350 homes lose power. While NIWA had in place an orange wind warning for the region, Wellington City Councillor Nicola Young, seen here discovering that poor people exist and can't just be banned, once again blamed Tory whānau in a press release that's been spread across all mainstream media that said the reason she believes climate change is real is because she clearly can control weather. That's an evil superpower all left-leaning politicians have. So this is clearly all her fault. So Simeon needs to step in and appoint me as a commissioner. Speaking of Wellington, Newstalk ZB senior political reporter Barry Soper, seen here looking for some friends, has come under fire for an opinion piece claiming all perceived issues in Wellington under both current Mayor Tory whānau and past Mayor Celia Wade-Brown come down to the STV voting system in use for local body elections. That's despite the fact that the first round of voting in the last local body elections, whānau won more votes than the next 2 opponents combined and would have won under a first-past-the-post system. STV is a rank-based system where unused votes are reallocated based on voter preference and tends to deliver a much more representative outcome, leading to more diverse elected bodies with broader ranges of experience and skills. So it's no surprise that the right-wing media pundits don't really seem to be fans. And in a set of really coincidental coincidences, after a week of running attack pieces against Wellington City Council and Wellington Mayor Tory whānau, where right-wing commentators and public figures have been able to uncritically comment on everything, Stuff and the Post owner Sinead Boucher today announced that she will be part of a completely bipartisan group of totally not biased, civic-minded individuals, including some of the ones she platformed uncritically in her publications, called Vision for Wellington. For more information on this, see any of this last week's videos on how the media sets the public discourse into practice called agenda setting. The Ministry of Health has been forced to apologise to Associate Minister of Health Casey Costello, seen here in an actual interview she gave to Rupert Murdoch-owned Sky News in Australia, claiming woke is evil destroying our country, for not disclosing a conflict of interest with one of her staff members involved in Costello's tobacco law reforms. That conflict, the staff member is Labour's health spokesperson Ayesha Verrall's sister-in-law. While Deputy Prime Minister Winston Peters tried to use it as an opportunity to attack the Labour Party, Te Whatu Ora says the responsibility sits with them as the person involved has followed correct procedures declaring the conflict. Said Costello, well, sure, Nicola Willis's dad is an oil and mining magnate. Shane Jones seems to have regular dinners with fishery and mining groups on the fast track list. The Prime Minister owns several homes and changed the rules for the Bright Line test that he then profited off, and his sister-in-law works in the tobacco industry. Clearly, this is a deceitful action by the Labour Party and a terrible plot by the left to bring into question our actions, like the one that surrounds that mysterious tobacco-friendly, smoke-free policy that just mysteriously showed up in my office, like a mystery. And finally, the makers of Wallace and Gromit have announced plans to team up with toy company Mattel to revive the internet's favourite penguin, Pingu. The new series will continue the stop-motion production style used in the original 1990s series, with Aardman Entertainment, who are best known for this type of work, continuing the adventures of South Pole-based Pingu and his sister Pinga. The series uses a made-up language for characters to communicate in called Penguinese, a somewhat coherent gibberish, with phrases like "noot noot," which should appeal to voter bases of both ACT and New Zealand First, who are somewhat fans of somewhat coherent gibberish. That is this week's news. Here. The links to other things that come at the end of YouTube videos. Those ones there, here.